Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Devil platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely, lovely, early morning in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. On this Sabbath morning, I'm going to give you food for the spirit, your spirit. And I hope that it give you a full meal deal. Okay? I hope this message be a full meal deal. I got my coffee here. I went to bed yesterday at 4 p.m. in the evening, and I'm just waking up about, say, 2 hours. And I was like at 5 a.m. something, 5:30 a.m. And here I am. Very worn out yesterday. Things are happening, and I did wake up during the midnight hour to address a situation, but I went right back to sleep. But I say unto you out there, there are things that's taking place, and what I am beholding is what the Father has suffered me to behold. What I am hearing is what the Father has suffered me to hear. So I just thank Him for the blessed eyesight to see and the blessed hearing of the ear to hear. Having that ear in which He has spoken to us in time past. You know, I think about in the old, as they call it, Testament. To me, there's no such thing as an old and a new. But back in the Old Testament and also in the New Testament, as they call it, I do hear the words of, I will pour out my spirit. I will pour out my spirit, that your daughters and sons shall prophesy. Your son and your daughters shall prophesy. So what I'm learning, because someone called me and they were talking to me, and I began to minister to this person in an unusual way. And it was very unusual because I was like drowsy, and I listened to this individual, and then I was expounding. But guess what? I found myself hearing out of my natural mouth. I heard spiritual messages. And the reason why I want to make sure I say spiritual messages is because what I was saying, my flesh was overwhelmed. My spirit was in like a praise state of mind. But my flesh were more so like, wow, you never heard of that. Wow, do you hear that? That's what my flesh was saying to myself. But it wasn't that I was saying it like verbally out. It was saying something from the inside, in my inner. and not so much as my thoughts as I was speaking. And I knew that it was my flesh marveling off of the things that I would say to this individual. Because I realized I had said so much. And I still was like in a place where I was stunned. Why? Because it was, how would I say it? To hear what I was saying, I call it very powerful. So my own self, my flesh marveled off of the message of my spirit to an individual. That led me to understand it is so important to be a hearer. Be slow to speak, but quick to hear. Because you can actually, I always wonder how is it that I am able to hear behind hearing. That's because when Yah give you the spiritual ear to hear, that means that he's giving you not just the natural, but the spirit to hear what is being said. Okay? You can talk in the natural to Sister Deborah, and she can hear you in the natural, but she can go as far as so deep as far as hearing what you're saying in the spiritual. That's what I mean when I said hear behind hearing. So I was saying a whole bunch of things, and I was like, this individual was just, you can tell that this individual was based on his reaction, he was stunned. Because me, myself, in the flesh, I think I was shocked at what I was saying. So I see now why it's so important to be quick to hear and slow to speak. Because there is a set time to speak, and there is a set time to hear. Okay? And both of them can, both the hearing, the set time to hear, and a set time to speak, if you can find that in the category of spirit, you are better off. You are 100% better off. Because there's a lot of things that's being said. Like this morning, I got up and fixed my coffee, and the Father was explaining to me, since the beginning of time have he been speaking and have spoken unto us. We still today in the end days, have not embraced nor received the words that proceed out of his mouth, nor the instructions and directions that was given to us to study. He began to talk about how important it is not to get bent up and bent down on speaking spirit and truth and feeling that one is not eating the plate of spirit and truth. He went on to telling me this as I was fixing my coffee, and I'm like, oh, you know what, Father? That's, to me, this is what I was saying. That's a form of comforting. He only come to tell you things like that because he cares that much for you, that you don't get caught up from the flow up in thinking that you're going to say something or you're going to do something that's going to change the hearts and the minds of individuals. No. The hearts and the minds has been written already in the Lamb Book of Life, or in the books. Okay? So while we're trying to speak this thing out to many and trying to teach this thing out to many, trying to feed spirit and truth to many, and many are feeding their flesh opinion, their flesh emotions, their flesh feelings, their flesh wisdom, their flesh knowledge, and their flesh understanding, then therefore many things are not heard. because they haven't been heard in the order in which one has been given an ear to hear. See, people don't understand. Just because you're listening to an individual don't mean that that individual is spilling out spirit and truth in the things which are of favor to Yah. Okay? Because the ear that he gives to he that can hear, now don't forget, he said he that has an ear. That's one ear. That's the spirit. That is he that has the spirit, let him hear. But people think because they're sitting back, staying in tune with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a Patriot, Rumble, and all these different platforms, and they hearing people who have their self-titled to be people of them or chosen ones of the Most High Yah. That don't mean you hearing anything. You hearing what your flesh desire to hear. Okay? When the Spirit comes, it's going to take you, it's going to talk to you in a way you have not heard. Okay? It's the words and the message is totally different from the message of the flesh. The message of the Spirit is totally different from a message of the flesh. So what he was saying is just speak as if you're still in the race. Okay? Don't keep thinking that you're going to give such great how would I say, plate of food and someone is going to grip it or get it. No. He said no. He said no. And I'm going to tell you something. This one lady, she did a video and probably been a couple of days, and she said, it's over. And when she said that title, the title is what poured me in. I don't normally listen to her, but when she said it's over, I said, well, I've been saying that for a minute now. Is she really getting it? Find out. Listen to what I'm saying. This is the difference in when you are led by the Spirit and you are led by your flesh. She's teaching this and she's talking about so many things is going on. So many things have gone on in these last days. And she's speaking on a level of she feels and she hears the voice in her. She's saying it's a voice in her saying it's over. It's a voice in her that constantly is really kind of like nitpicking at her, informing her that it is over. Okay? And it makes her want to really kind of give up on things because of this voice, and this voice that's in her. It feels so real because the way that it comes to her. And she said she'd spoken to a couple of people on this topic. It is over. And they said that they have felt that too, or something like that. It was something about her speaking to others. But she made the voice to be a fleshly contact. Okay? And when she turned it over to the fleshly contact, she turned it over to Satan. See, everybody, so now the voice she feels is coming from Satan. Why? Because her flesh cannot accept the fact that it is over. It is over. When the voice of the Most High speaks to you and say that it is over, you got to salute that voice. First and foremost, you got to sit up. You got to salute that voice. You got to say to the Most High, let his will continue to be done, and that you salute his will. You salute his way. You see, but what happened is we are so caught up in the part of us that is so controlled by our flesh that this woman has already received the voice of the Father saying to her that it's over. This could be a person that really desire to know the will of the Father, and when he give it to her, she turns it to a negative thing instead of really, and she called herself a Christian, and she's supposed to be this in the Bible. But what it led me to understand is what I'm talking about now. We eat out of the flesh plate, okay, and we call it spirit. We don't understand that either you eat that which is for the flesh, or you eat that which is for the spirit. Really, honestly, that's a way of knowing already who you are in the Most High Yah. So a lot of people pretty much today know where they stand already, but it's a full denial in the flesh that says, oh no, surely you all that and some. You in there because you read your Bible, you go to church every day, or you study, you minister, you teach on YouTube, you teach on Facebook, you got it going on, you got 1 million subscribers, you got 1 million people following you. That's what your flesh does for you. That's where you hurt. That's really where your hurt rests as far as you being destroyed. Okay? Because your flesh, there's a time to keep quiet, and that's your flesh. Because if your flesh is quiet, then your spirit speak it, and your flesh hear it. You see what I'm saying? But if the flesh is continue to speak and be the overseer of your destiny, then your flesh has won already over. So you are born of the flesh. And this is what the Father was telling me. If individuals are born of the flesh, it doesn't matter what you give them. You can give them, you have given them the best food for their spirit that they're going to ever receive. He said they don't even understand why they come or have came in time past to your presence of your page. It's because it's the desire to want the spiritual food, but it's so used to the fleshly food to where spiritual food is where they dip in and out, in and out, going here, going there, going here, going there, just all over the place. Why? Because they're loving the everything that the fleshly food gives them. Okay, to where they would rather eat more of the flesh food, and that's flesh food is the natural food that we eat and take in, but more so what is that feeds your flesh, and that's just not your natural food, but what comes in your natural ear, what is in the presence of your natural eye, the things that you naturally accept, the things that you entertain naturally. Those are for people who are born of the flesh. This is what they live on. And every now and then they would come to run up on Sister Deborah's page, come to the page and listen, and then receive spirit and truth, which is food for the spirit, and then run back to the plate that's most satisfying to them. Okay? So he just wanted me to always stay in tune with understanding that the things that I speak on, they are spirit and truth. This is why you don't have anyone wanting enough of it to be able to become one that leads others. Because Yah has not, and his desire is not that you sit up under Sister Deborah. It's to hear what she's saying, and it's like a seed planted, and the Spirit of the Most High Yah does the watering as far as the increase and whatever it needs to increase you, okay, in your spiritual walk, in your spiritual food, your spiritual understanding, your spiritual ear hearing, and your spiritual sight seeing. So therefore, Sister Deborah is to drop a seed. But what happened is the seed has already been dropped by the sower who sowed the seed. And if the sower who sowed the seed set the parable from heaven it shows you out of all, I think it's 5 seeds, groups of seeds that were planted. And when it hit the location of where it was planted, it showed you the move or the action of the seed itself after it has been released. Okay, so only one were found in soil and produce, but the majority was found stony places, thorns, where the sun can scorch it, places of that nature to where it is destroyed. That's also give you another clip of narrow is the gate that leads to righteous. The seeds that went in the soil was the narrow gate. The other group of seeds, which is 4 out of 5, went to places that it could not produce. Okay? It could not hear spiritual. It could not see spiritual. Okay? It could not receive fruit of the Spirit or the Spirit and truth. So it withered. It was destroyed. So these are the seeds that lines up in the gate that is broad. What I'm understanding is, and always, for me to say to you what I'm understanding and what I come to know, I come to give you information daily, the best of my ability as he gives it to me. And I'm learning. Anytime individual are so busy teaching you, you so busy praising them, they so busy getting glorified, they so busy getting put on pedestals, they so busy being a god to the fleshly and people who are born of the flesh. These are people who leads to the broad gate 100. They believe in leading their people to the broad gate because they want the glory, they want the honor, they want the praise. They don't want you to eat any food outside of the food that they have been given, which is bread for their flesh. And this is what they want you to eat from, what they have been eaten from throughout times. Anytime people are so geared to teach you and to minister to you or to give you the instructions and direction book without informing you that, hey, guess what, you guys? I'm learning something every day. Yah is speaking to me every day. Yah showed me this every day. So for Yah to spend that time with you in teaching you first and foremost, showing you, revealing things to you, is because he has a relationship with you. A for sure relationship with you. If Yah can wake you up in the midnight hour and he can talk to you and tell you did this and then put you back to sleep like a baby, when you can get up and you can go before water and Yah begin to speak to you. I'm showing you things that I am connected to in the spirit of truth. Those things are spirit of truth. So no one could ever look or hear any video I make and make me flesh. If you can't hear my videos and see that I am not born of the flesh, but of the spirit, because it's nothing about me that I give any praise and any honor to. I've always said who the praises go to and only. Who the honor go to and only to him. You see, but what people are doing and have done, because the Father said to me, like I said this morning when I was fixing my coffee, he said, this has been going on since the beginning of time. And it's a form of comforting me to know that no matter what you say, Deborah, they're not going to get it unless they are born of the Spirit. You see? So don't even look for it. And he knows now. He just wants me to understand that it's finished. It's over. And that this is a part of it being finished and over. This other young lady who made the video, that something keep telling her and making it clear that it's over. What it's saying to her, everything you doing, everything you saying is vain and vats. Okay? What I'm trying to tell you, it is over. That means Sister Deborah cannot do something that is going to make you all come to the knowledge of anything. It has to be already in your works, in which heavens has already written that you receive the things which is of the Spirit. And that's why Sister Deborah speak on over and over, faking it until you think that you're going to make it. A lot of people will not make it. So, and a lot of people will continue to fake it. But what he's letting me know, and it is that in their faking, trying to make it or feeling they're going to make it while they're faking, he say that is another form of how the flesh got them thinking that they are of spirit and they are of flesh, because they got so many conniving ways within them that make them feel that they are all the way in 100 with the Most High Yah. It's because their flesh is born of the flesh. It masks the things of the flesh. You know, the things that really are born of the Spirit minds the things of the Spirit. And so when you hear Sister Deborah all the time talking, since you've been on here, about spirit, 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 everything resting in the Spirit, everything resting in Yah, Ahaya, in the Father, in the Most High Yah, that's because I'm born to speak. I was created to speak and uphold the things that are in the Spirit. And that's why the gate is so narrow, because very few is going to find out that it's always been spiritual. Okay? And that's the one that goes through the narrow gate. He that is spirit and born of spirit. See, as he was telling me that, I look at it as a form of comforting, because he's telling me two ways. He's telling me in the spirit realm and in the natural. Do not trust the flesh, which 99.9 would never embrace. Even if y'all showed up in the presence of you. In the midnight hour, his spirit shows up and tell you, put your trust in no man. You will wake up and do exactly what Abraham did. When he told Abraham he's going to give him a son. Give him a lineage through Sarah. He woke up out of the vision, hid where his wife was, and his wife gave him Hagar. And he took Hagar and had a child after he had came out his vision. So this is what I'm saying to you. You can be on this platform listening to Deborah and over and over and over. But if you have been on here and you have listened, but you still eat fleshly, meaning you still find yourself understanding things in another way outside of what you're hearing Sister Deborah speak it, because you find more pleasure on another end. That's beautiful. It's beautiful in the sight of your flesh. Okay? So it is beautiful, because to me, I can call anything beautiful, whether it's evil, wicked, or good. Why? Because heavens has orchestrated everything to be what it is, even when it's trying to hide what it really is. It's still beautiful, because to know that heavens has already got it written, who you are, what you are, which part are you born? Are you born of the Spirit? Are you born of the flesh? Heavens has all that written. From the time you come out of your mother's womb, the day, the hour, and the time you leave up out of here, the day, the hour, it's already written. And this is another stage of spirit and truth that people don't believe. They don't believe that the power of who my Father is capable of having their whole life already locked in and locked out. The reason why I said locked in and locked out, because I remember reading Revelation where the angels were hooping and hollering, who can open up the book? Who can take the book out of the hand and open the book? You see, because they know the book was written, and they know just can't anybody open up the books. But you should hear how the words kind of tell you how confused, not confused, I can say a little bit confused the angels were, because they was wondering who's going to open up the books. They knew that the books was going to get open. I don't know why they worried about who's going to open up the books, but it's just showing you the state of mind in the kingdom, how they were wanting to know who's going to open up the books. Believe it or not, the books is going to be open. I like the idea that he has warned us, had already told us that there's books, a Lamb Book of Life, and there's books. That warning been to us since I think the world began. And what we did, we decided to only live what were able to, believe and live what we were able to embrace or willing to embrace. And that's why we're where we at today, lost without a cause and going to and fro, and not eating the food from the plate of the spirit, but getting full meal deals from the plate of the flesh. He that is born of that flesh eats from that plate of the flesh. He that is born of that spirit eats from the plate of the spirit. So I just want to say that I thank the Father for just giving me that upper hand, that upper head. I said in advance before I got on here, because to me it's a good thing where he always want me to understand that it is the way he say it's going to be, and no matter how many voices is in the land, it's still going to remain in spirit and truth. And the young lady missed it. She missed the whole thing, the message of it's finished. And to me, it is really, truly finished. And everything that we're seeing is saying that it's just fulfilling the prophecies. See, when he tells you it's time to focus on the prophecies of the prophets, he's telling you the prophets have given you prophecies for this end days. Focus on it. And that is found in Revelation chapter 22 and verse 7. You see how he was in and he poured out. And that in and pulling out, meaning you see it in black writing, and then you see it in the red writing where he came out to inform you and then went back in. See, that spirit, a lot of people couldn't teach that to you. A lot of people couldn't reveal that to you. He's showing you that it's important to to embrace the prophecies of the prophets, and of Yah and of Yeshua. Why? Because they're what's going to lead you on into what you all are going into in this day and time. But what they don't want to do, no one wants to take the prophecies. No one wants to receive the prophecies because it's warning them. It's giving them the light into this darkness we are in. They don't want that. They want to hear the things that's of the flesh more so. That's why a lot of, like that other young man, I think he got more than a million subscribers, but he said he sat back and he realized as long as he's talking about what's going on in the world and the things that it's not connected to the Most High Yah, he didn't have all those subscribers. But the moment he walked into that part of speaking, he ended up gaining a lot of subscribers. So see how it ate him up so bad. He said he had to pull away. And I think he pulled away for almost a year or maybe longer. He said because what he saw is his whole intent, his whole purpose was to stay on the spiritual end. And he saw what everybody else were doing that started off like he did with the same mindset. And then he saw them go over into another area. So he said, went over here, maybe I can dip over here a little bit. And then he found himself going more and more. Now he's left the spiritual guidance of speaking. So when he looked up, he realized he got all these subscribers and he's talking more about worldly issues. And that's what I try to explain to you all. You all think because these people on here talking about all these worldly issues, and you don't understand they're talking because people like you found these worldly issues to be something you uplift, that you praise, that you honor in your flesh, that you look forward to hearing. You yearn for these things, and that's where you go and you sit and then you entertain. So when a person said, when I don't watch TV, I don't watch this on TV, I don't watch this sort of nonsense, and baby, you might as well turn on to it, because when you look at YouTube today, you'll see a lot of people talking only about worldly issues that is nowhere detached to the Father. None of it is spirit and truth. And they don't see anything wrong with it, because now they started off wanting to chase the things which are spirit. And they found themselves running into the area of the things of the world. And when you speak of the world, you are of the world. You are of the flesh. But when you speak of the things of the spirit, you are of the spirit. So what are you saying, Deborah? So when you hear him pull in and pull out in Revelation chapter 22. Go there. Go to Revelation chapter 22. See how he pull in red and then pull right back out. And all he's talking about, the prophecies. Because he knows in these end days that the people will get 100% turned away from the prophecies that were spoken for them for these days that we are in. And it has successfully. So when he came into Revelation chapter 22 and verse 7, he came out and then went right back in. Just wanting us to know, you guys, you all have stepped in total different area. But he that has an ear, hear what I'm saying, because this is spirit. That's why he jumped in. He was in. He jumped out to speak to those that are spirit, and he went right back in. So honestly, he's not talking. I don't care how many listen to Sister Deborah. He's not talking to all of you all, because everybody is trying to place themselves in a way that they can feel they're representing Yah. But it doesn't matter how you listen to Sister Deborah. That's what he wants me to know. It doesn't matter how they listen to you. It doesn't matter how they tune in. I know who they are. They would always come in the presence of minds, anointed ones, but it's not for the purpose of what is righteous. So I thank him for that. Oh, I do. Let me turn this here fan on. So I thank him for that, because that's what you call confirmation of what is spirit and what is truth. I was looking at my clock here. So what happened is, going back to this lady, so she won't embrace it's over, it's finished, because she think life is based on where she wants it to go, where it should be, and which way it needs to go. And that's going back to, and she's supposed to call herself a Christian and call herself a speaker and being called. See, that's where you know flesh has called you to the realm in which you are in. Because anything that speaks to you to warn you, you're not going to take heed to it to see it as, wait a minute, this is the reality. No, you got to find some way or another how to line it up in the flesh, because people are fully aware, if I teach from the flesh in, I'm going to get more subscribers and more likes. And if I get more subscribers and more likes, guess what? I get a check. Okay? If I get more subscribers and more like, I am going to be praised. I'm going to be uplifted, so that I can remain on this devil platform. Not representing Yah anymore. See, the intent when they started what's right. But I thank the Father in how, as time go on, it does the separation from the wheat and the tare. It separate both gates, the narrow gate and the broad gate, total distance from one another. It really does. It's a distance from the narrow gate and the broad gate. They have no connection, nor seeing one another, or any connection, none whatsoever, with each other. One is flesh and one is spirit. So it's no grouping together, coming together. And this is another reason why you can't get anyone on these devil platforms to really find room to unite and to come into one unity. Because those that are of the flesh is 99.9. Those that are of the spirit is that 1%. There's no balance. If you weigh that, it's no balance. It's no, if one is dark and one is light, nothing in common. And see, all it does is shows you how the instructions and direction book has gave you simple things to graft in on the spiritual things. Because he speaks of the gate being narrow and very few shall find. He don't have no problem telling you many gonna follow the broad gate. But do you think the people in this world sees that as? No, they don't. They bypass that. And I wanted to talk about back in the old, and I say in the new, where he says he's going to pour out his spirit upon your daughters and your son, and they shall prophesy. The reason why he have that in the old and in the new, he's letting you know I'm the same in what I said then as I am in the new. That means that where we're at, he has poured out all on males and females. Now, if he pour out his spirit on daughters and sons, the reason why he says in the old to remind you, he reminded you in the new, and the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, because it was in the beginning, and in what they call the old, and now in what they call the new, in what they called the new and today. This is where you will not, and you have not heard them preach nor teach, because they have nothing to put on their plate. Say, for instance, you get a steak, a baked potato, and a broccoli. Say, for instance, you don't get a steak. You at least got the broccoli and the potatoes. Say, for instance, you don't got a steak or not a potato. You at least got a broccoli. Say, for instance, you don't have a steak nor the broccoli. You at least got the potato. You see something there that can feed you and nourish you. What people are putting on these plates today and putting before people, I'm setting it up in spirit and truth. I'm setting it up in a way that one can understand the food that is being put before you. It's like unto food that is, it's nothing on there. It's nothing on the plate that's good, okay? It's just food for the flesh. And you know how the flesh eat. So therefore, the food that is on that plate in the spiritual realm, there's nothing that would nourish the spirit. You see? So, and another thing about that, as far as the food for the spirit and the food for the flesh, the food for the flesh is what you desire it to be. And you eat from it every day. People eat from the messages that's on this devil platform, 99.9, and look forward to hearing it, the food for the flesh, throughout the day. 2 and 3 videos people are dropping for your flesh. And the message that they're pouring out has no spiritual in it. It has no food for the spirit at all. And it's just amazing to me how people eat from it. It's because the Father explained to me, Deborah, because they are of the flesh. They are not of the spirit. That's why it's so tasting to their flesh. And they eat therein. thereof. So, and it does. And it's just you wonder how long, so I can understand the angels in heavens asking the length of time, because if you're living on the earth and you seeing these things in the spiritual realm, you say, how long, Father? But when you know that it's all in his hand, and it was before the foundation of the world, and that it was written, it is already in the book. Even every last one of you all's works are already in the book. So that's why I said I would not be faking it until I make it down here on the earth, when heavens has you already for who you are, who you were, and who you're going to continue to be. And it was closed. That's why the angels said, who can open the books? Because once the books is open, it's going to tell the truth of the whole matter. So while people are rumbling down here thinking or feeling that they're doing the work of the Most High Yah, because they can deceive the mass. And how? By the numbers that they're collecting to satisfy the issues of what they're feeding the people, and the praises that they're getting for feeding the people fleshly word. And it is what it is. So I want to also talk about, I don't have that much more time. I'm hoping that what I'm saying is what I also have said in time past. I try to stick with that which is spirit and separate that which is spirit from that which is flesh, so people can really kind of go into the gate in which they going into the gate will fit them anyway. It doesn't matter. But so that you won't be going into the gate that's broad and calling it narrow. That's where the problem with yourself would be, faking it, walking in the broad gate and calling it narrow, as if it's the way, as if the individual is walking in the way. I sit back and I watch and how the Spirit of the Most High Yah. You know what I also believe? I believe that, but I don't know. I would have to, the Yah would have to be in my life in a way that he have been in full force. In full force. Because I'm thinking we got a little ways to go. You guys, when I say a little ways to go, it's over. It's finished. That means we've been, say the Hebrew Israelites, been on the four corners for longer than 400 years. And throughout that 400 years, they didn't get it. I'm going to show you how deep it is. Look at 400 years. And they still don't get it, said the prophetess. They don't get it. How do you know that they don't get it, Deborah? In Revelation chapter 22, verse 7, he comes roaring out. Let me get that verse. Let's go to Revelation chapter 7, Revelation chapter 22, verse 7. Let's go there. Revelation chapter 22, verse 7. As you see in Revelation chapter 22, verse 7, when Sister Deborah says how he poured out from John. He poured out and spoke. Verse 7. Behold, I come quick. Blessed is he that keep the sayings of the prophecies of this book. Blessed mean past tense. They already blessed. Who has what? Who kept it past tense, who kept the scenes of the prophecies of this book. So if you see the prophecies, Yeshua gave us prophecies. When it says in this book, Yah said, he gave us prophecies as well. And then you have all the prophets. Some way or another, they gave us prophecies. And why is it bringing it up in Revelation? It's letting you know those are the things that the prophet today should be teaching you in this day and time. What Sister Deborah tells you. Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Daniel, Isaac. Those are the prophecies, you guys. And the things that Yeshua is telling us to come. Those are the prophecies. The things the Most High Yah says that he said are to come. These are the prophecies. And he says you're leaning toward let me see, where is it at? Behold, I come quick. Blessed is he that keepeth the saying of the prophecies of this book. A lot of the prophecies, or majority of the prophecies, are coming from Yah, Yeshua, and the prophets. They all work hand in hand, you guys. So all these pastors you all are up under, these apostles you all are up under, these bishops you all up under, no. They are not people in this dark and evil end days that are upholding the prophecies. They can't uphold it, or else you won't listen to them, or else you won't like them, or else you won't subscribe. You will unsubscribe every time they telling you what you don't want to hear. Those are people born of the flesh. They come in, hearing something that you said, liking you, subscribing, and they pull out the moment you say something that disturbs them or trigger their flesh emotions. Those are people who are born of the flesh, and they are happy. They are happy to be born of the flesh because they think the word that's in this instructions and direction has to line up with their feelings and their emotions, their wisdom, their knowledge, and their understanding in their flesh. So they can't accept anything outside of that. But as you look at Revelation and you think about in what they call the old, he said, I will pour out in end days, I will pour out my spirit upon your daughters and sons. Wait a minute, why is daughters in there? And to receive prophecies, you have to be able to speak those prophecies out. But if she's to shut up because Paul said it, and it best fit the needs of men, then they're telling you what? You are born of the flesh when you bypass what is said in the old, that I'm going to pour out my spirit. That's a prophecy telling you upon your daughters and your son. And then you come over into the new and it's repeated. I'm going to pour out my spirit upon your daughters and your son, and they shall prophesy. Do you think this spirit that's pouring out is pouring out on individual to prophesy about the things that the world has to cover? Or it's the things that Yah want us to cover that is in spirit and truth? Do you really think that he poured out his spirit upon your daughters and sons to talk about the things of the world? Or did he pour out his spirit to talk about the things that's in the world that is of spirit? Come on now. And this is where you see the multitude teaching on here. And the guy that says he had to shut down his page, get his family together. He realized he wasn't the father he should have been. He realized he wasn't the husband and the head that he should have been. And what he was saying as far as the head, he was doing things to satisfy his audience. And he left who he should have been in his household to lead, and his wife was overseeing the things that he should have been overseeing as a man and as a father. He not only saw that his intent in the beginning of having this YouTube page affected his numbers. The numbers showed that he was speaking as the world wanted to hear him, and not so much as what the Father wanted him to speak on. And see, you all think it's a game. You all think it's a joke. You think it's a play. But guess what? There were 55 people who died from a fire in some other area of the country. And I seen 55 people. I said, Father, I know where this fire come from. It comes from the space, those lasers. And they doing this here to eliminate land. Okay? What is actually happening, a lot of you all don't know, is a lot of people are thinking and got plans to run to land, okay, to live. But they feel if they tear up the greenery, the woods and the forests, and they get rid of a lot of these places, they know already where people are going to be running to escape the city and the suburbs. They already know that. So what they're doing is they're preparing for what they already know. What I come to grip was, let me finish this and then I get on that. But see, you have to see here where in Revelation how he came in and went back, and he said the prophecies of this book. The prophecies of this book has warned you that he was going to pour out his spirit upon your daughters and your son, and they shall prophesy. That was spoken in the old and in the new, that in the days. And here we are in those days, and nobody is listening to the prophecies from the prophets and those who come to bring the prophecies of this book, as well as a right now prophecy in the day that you are in. Oh yes, there's some right now prophecies, because he said, I will pour out, he said, and when you receive the Holy Spirit, you shall prophesy, and you shall speak things that shall come. You see, there's things he's going to give you to teach people that shall come. People don't want to hear that. They want to stay right where they at and ease on into the broad gate and role play this thing on out. So I'm Sister Deborah is trying to inform you that if Yah poured out his spirit to have the mouthpiece to prophesy, how is it that the flesh of man can say females are to shut up? What Paul was talking about, it can't override what Yah said he would do. That's a prophecy. You see? See, that's the thing. We want to use the mouth of man to control the mouth of Yah. And that's what's happening. And this is why the gate is so broad, and so many people, I look at it now from the standpoint of where I'm at. I'm looking at it as 99.9 is going through the broad gate, and the 1% is going to the narrow. That's me as a person that's living in this life, in this world today. As I can see it, that would be what I would call a percentage. 99 is going to the broad gate, and 1% is going to the narrow, because that's just how deep he's revealing things to me off the chain and what I'm seeing, what people are doing. So I want you all to know that the prophecies are very important, the prophets of yesterday, and Yah prophecies and Yeshua prophecies, like unto today, it's the same way. If he says that Yeshua said that the Holy Spirit would come, it would teach you all things, it will show you things to come. So what's the sense of the Ruach being in you and can't show you things to come? You see? It's crazy if people say ain't nothing else coming outside of what's in this book. So when you see where it says prophecy of this book, he's speaking of this book, but yet he wants us to know we still should be right now prophecies in this day, actually what's taking place and what's coming tomorrow. Who's going to be at your door tomorrow? Who's going to be at your back door tomorrow? Those are prophecies you still should be aware of that's happening today. Okay, so I like that the way he came in Revelation 22 and verse 7, and he stepped right out, but just wanted to make that statement. So a lot of us don't understand when he said every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. That was the prophets, the things he told them to say, and they was his mouthpiece. And when he spoke and Yah said, and when Yeshua spoke, that's also was a part of the word that proceed out of the mouth of Yah. These are prophecies that Yeshua gave us to look for in the end days. And I would say today, it is what it is. And as I'm going to show you something. I don't listen to this young lady, but somewhere when her title was, "It's Over." That was meant for me to see. That was already given to me. That she's been on here longer than I have and teaching this thing, and she's all over the place. But the sad thing about it, she's so far from truth. He told you that it's over, and you see over as evil. You see? Because no one want to let go of this worldly ways as being over. Everyone wants to portray it to be all something that it is not. And it is not what you all want it to be. But it can be whatever you want it to be. So Sister Deborah, will be coming back this evening with another message. Right now, I'm going to have to cut off right here and hope that you got a little food this morning. Grab your cup of coffee, or if you haven't, and just take heed to what Sister Deborah is saying. And I pray that many of you all that tune in to Sister Deborah are about spirit and truth. It's no reason to be detached to this page and not practice hearing the voice of the Most High Yah in spirit and in truth. Shalom. Shalom.